This is the US president saying that US forces have captured the president of Venezuela and his wife and taken them physically out the country. Is that right?
That's exactly what he has just said. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. That is the Truth Social post that you posted just a minute ago.
Well, seizing an oil tanker in the Caribbean might be the start of the Trump administration's pressure campaign on Venezuela, but it's the latest development since launching Operation Southern Spear, which is aimed at curbing the flow of illegal drugs into the U.S. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin is in Washington with more on these developments. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jackie. Well, I just came from an on-the-record briefing with the ranking member of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Senator Mark Warner spoke with the George Washington University's Defense Writers Group, and I asked him point blank if the U.S. is going to war with Venezuela. Senator Warner is a member of the Gang of Eight, and he said, I don't know. That is alarming given the amount of air power, troops, and warships in the Caribbean right now. The USS Gerald R. Ford is moving south into the Caribbean basin, further into the basin. EA-18 Growlers, electronic warfare jets in Puerto Rico to jam enemy radar and take out surface-to-air missile sites. Air Force HH-60 search and rescue helicopters deployed to the Caribbean from Japan, and 12 Navy warships.
Is the campaign against Venezuela still just about drugs, or is it now also about oil?
It has to do with a lot of things. It's going to be starting on land pretty soon.
He seems to be sleepwalking into a war with Venezuela.
Seizing an oil tanker is one thing, but what follows could be far bigger. President Trump says the U.S. will keep the oil from the tanker. It's not the first time the U.S. has seized sanctioned oil tankers. It did so with 4 tankers in 2020, Iranian oil that had been sanctioned. The Treasury Department has now targeted Maduro insiders and sanctions evaders, including sanctions on 3 of Maduro's nephews and 6 shipping companies. The seized vessel is now in forfeiture, headed to a U.S. port. Russian President Vladimir Putin, meanwhile, is reaffirming support for Venezuela's Maduro. Today, more details have emerged in the Wall Street Journal exclusive about the dramatic and nearly failed evacuation of the leading Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, who has been in hiding in Venezuela and is seen here on the balcony of her hotel in Oslo, where she received the Nobel Peace Prize. She was nearly lost at sea for 3 hours after a series of mishaps by the contractor sent to help her escape Venezuela, including a fishing boat that at first broke down, a GPS that went overboard. The Venezuelan operation appears designed to remove Maduro from power, but it's not clear whether all of the U.S. government entities responsible for oversight know the overall plan and whether Congress has been fully briefed. There are bound to be questions about how Machado was evacuated and why all of the details ended up in the press. Jackie?
And it was quite a compelling story at that. All right, Jennifer, thank you very much.
Y el gobierno de Estados Unidos lo sabe porque se lo hemos dicho a muchos de sus voceros que si quieren conversar seriamente de un acuerdo de combate contra el narcotráfico, estamos listos. Que si quieren petróleo de Venezuela, está lista Venezuela para inversiones estadounidenses como con Chevron, cuando quieran, donde quiera y como quieran. Lo que yo sí te puedo decir que el sistema defensivo nacional que combina la fuerza popular, militar, policial, ha garantizado y garantiza la integridad territorial, la paz del país y el uso y disfrute de todos nuestros territorios. Y nuestro pueblo está seguro y en paz.
A remarkable statement by President Trump on a social media post saying that the US has carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with US law enforcement. Details to follow. An incredible development in this, and one that seems to have not have been expected by Venezuelan authorities. We still don't know where President Maduro and his wife will be now. All we know from President Trump's statement is that they were captured and flown out of the country. We have not heard anything from Venezuela.
From the President of the United States. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow, Maduro. According to the president. There will be a news conference, he says, today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. He then punctuates it, as he often does, with thanks for your attention to this matter. It is signed by the president.
Esta mierda, yo. Mosca ahí. Mira esa mierda, explotaron allá toda esa mierda, porque tú no estás explotando. Marico, se prendió el peo en esa mierda, ¿oyó?
It's currently 5 a.m. on January 3rd. A couple of hours ago, the United States government commenced ground operations in Venezuela, operations that have reportedly led to the abduction of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. So how the fuck did we get here? Well, around 2 a.m., there were reports of low-flying aircraft and explosions in the Venezuelan capital city of Caracas. Shortly after those reports, videos from Venezuelans on the ground started finding their way onto the internet, videos that showed what seemed to be U.S. military aircraft flying over Venezuelan airspace. And they weren't just any aircraft either. A closer inspection of this footage showed that many of these aircraft seemingly were U.S. military Chinook transport helicopters. What that meant, and what many people soon came to realize, was that we were looking at the beginnings of U.S. military operations on the ground in Venezuela. It didn't take long after those initial reports for U.S. officials to confirm that the U.S. President Donald Trump had ordered strikes on sites inside of Venezuela. Not only that, but he had approved those plans days beforehand. Now, the full extent of those strikes is unknown, but from what we can tell, those strikes were targeting Venezuelan military infrastructure within the country. All of that alone constitutes a major escalation, not just airstrikes against Venezuelan military infrastructure, but the beginnings of U.S. ground operations with U.S. military service members. But as of a couple of minutes ago, it seems the situation is even worse than we initially thought, with President Donald Trump on Truth Social stating that the U.S. military was able to kidnap President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. Now, you might think that's bullshit. Hell, I did too, but it seems, according to comments from other U.S. officials, that Maduro very well might have been captured by U.S. Army Delta Force operators. What that means is that we bombed a sovereign country, put boots on the ground, and then kidnapped the president of that country, all in the span of a couple of hours. Now, I'd be lying to you if I said I know what happens next. The United States, through these actions, for all intents and purposes, has declared war on the people of Venezuela. What I do know, though, is that this is all being done to further ensure U.S. military and economic hegemony in Latin America, and also to ensure that no possible force can stand in the way of U.S. oil companies. We're invading a sovereign nation, kidnapping its leader, and bombing its military infrastructure because U.S. oil companies and the transnationalist capitalist class that the U.S. represents the interests of want to get in and pillage Venezuela for everything it's worth. We're watching a repeat of Iraq in many ways, not just in how the U.S. government is trying to justify its actions, but in how it's escalating and why. This is U.S. imperialism out in the open for everyone to see. The United States trying to topple a government that did not allow its own resources to be exploited to the maximum degree. This should shock you. It should terrify you. And more importantly, it should piss you off. I'll be making update videos as more information rolls in. In the meantime, it is critical that all of us stand together and say no to war with Venezuela. As always, salamu alaikum, and have a great day.
We have some major news. It is 3 in the morning on the East Coast right now, and Donald Trump just bombed Venezuela. It seems like the United States is at war with Venezuela. There were missile explosions reported very early this morning in Caracas, the capital city of Venezuela. It wasn't clear if it was the United States. It has now been confirmed that Donald Trump had ordered these strikes on military facilities, including other locations as well. There's still a lot of footage coming in. Here's a photo of helicopters in the air in Venezuela. These are American helicopters. This is a screenshot from a video of a helicopter launching missiles into a location in Venezuela. Here is a port that looks like it was attacked by the United States. Gustavo Petro, the president of Colombia, just posted the official statement from Venezuela saying that they reject, repudiate, and denounce before the international community the extremely serious military aggression perpetrated by the current government of the United States of America against them. They say this act is a flagrant violation of the UN Charter and that it threatens international peace and stability. So this is really serious stuff. It is an act of war. Donald Trump, the guy who said, no more war, we're not doing it, now just got the United States into another war. I will keep you updated, but This is really not good.
Trump has posted, "We kidnapped Maduro." Just a couple of minutes ago on True Social, I told you it was weird that he wasn't posting about it. I guess I posted like 7 minutes too soon. What I should have realized is that the reason he hadn't posted is because the thing hadn't happened yet. Rookie mistake. Quote, "The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago." Mar-a-Lago? Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Mar-a-Lago? Do you realize how ridiculous this is? I don't even know what to say. Genuinely. Actually, I have two things to say. Number one, I've been saying from the beginning, he wanted a Noriega. Play by play. Same exact thing. Secondly, in my last post, I talked about the idea that Europe's psychological profile on Pete Hegseth has him wanting a war thing for American propaganda. More specifically, the idea was that he wanted like a SEAL Team 6 sort of thing. This is kind of hard to explain, but I have an update. I just got word that I can't actually verify that Maduro may have negotiated his exit out of Venezuela through the Miami Herald. This is unconfirmed. Also, I just realized we don't have confirmation of anything that Trump said in his post. This could be like an FBI cash patel sort of thing. This country is run by clowns, and it is owned by big oil.
They abducted Maduro, bro. The fucking president of Venezuela has been abducted by the United States and flown out of the country. Your uncle's going to tell you that Trump did this because Maduro is a socialist that needed to be removed and he was victimizing millions of Venezuelans by being a communist. It's the oil. It's always been the oil. It'll always be the oil. It's the oil. This will have consequences. I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but holy shit.
What in the Axis-powered fuck is going on? We just captured the president of Venezuela. This escalated extremely quickly. The Associated Press is reporting that following the U.S. military striking Venezuela, the president of Venezuela has been captured and carried out of the country by the U.S. military. I can't make this up. I don't have a take. We're just going to read this together. The United States hit Venezuela with a large-scale strike early Saturday and said its president, Nicolas Maduro, had been captured and flown out of the country after months of stepped-up pressure by Washington. An extraordinary nighttime operation announced by President Donald Trump on social media just hours after the attack. Multiple explosions rang out and low-flying aircraft swept through Caracas, the capital, as Maduro's government immediately accused the United States of attacking civilian and military installations. The Venezuelan government called it an imperialist attack and urged citizens to take the streets. It was not immediately clear who was running the country, and Maduro's whereabouts were not immediately known. Trump announced the developments on Truth Social shortly after 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Maduro, Trump said, has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. He said a news conference for later Saturday morning, so just in a few hours probably. Definitely a story to keep your eye on. Shoot me a follow for more updates just like this.
Okay, guys, it's the first Saturday of 2026, and it looks like America is in a war with Venezuela. Just a couple of hours ago, American helicopters descended low on the Venezuelan capital of Caracas and started to strike several targets. It's still night over there, so we don't know exactly, but it looks like they hit important government infrastructure. They even struck like a lot of cultural sites like the mausoleum for Hugo Chavez. And the most important update that we have so far is that Donald Trump has claimed that the United States has captured Maduro and his wife. The Venezuelan president and his wife have also been flown out of the country according to his Truth Social post. As of right now, Venezuelan officials have just condemned the violence, I guess. It's also important to acknowledge that, number one, this is illegal. Donald Trump cannot conduct war without the approval of Congress. On top of that, Venezuela has powerful allies such as China. A lot of its Latin American neighbors might not like the idea of America just bombing you out of nowhere with no cause whatsoever. And they're definitely not going to like the idea of Americans coming to your country and then kidnapping you and taking you somewhere else. The best thing that we can hope for is that no one cares about the Venezuelan people and tries to defend them, and that Trump gets away with this, because otherwise it's going to lead to a war with multiple countries involved on both sides that spans across the whole world. We had 2 of those before. Do you know what it's
A truly extraordinary update from President Trump on the situation in Venezuela, not just confirming a large-scale strike against the country, but that the US has captured President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, and they've flown them out of the country. They appear to have been deposed. President Trump only saying, apart from that, that this was done in conjunction with US law enforcement. A truly extraordinary development. We haven't heard anything from the opposition in Venezuela, whether or not they were aware this was happening. What will happen now with control of the country? All we've heard from the Venezuelan government so far is that there was a very serious, grave military aggression by the US against multiple parts of the country. We are expecting a news conference now at 11 a.m. local time in Mar-a-Lago, Florida, where President Trump is. So a truly extraordinary development. The president of Venezuela appears to have been deposed by the United States after multiple strikes on the capital.
Did the president of the United States just kidnap the president of Venezuela and his wife? Okay, it is so late. It is 1:38 a.m. Pacific. This is what Trump put out. Oh. This has just happened about 10 minutes ago. The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured, and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference at 11 a.m., I'm guessing Eastern, at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Trying to decode Trump's Truth Social messages can be rather difficult, especially, and even when it's not in the middle of the night. I do know that leading up to this, the rhetoric out of the Trump regime has been that Maduro is the head of a terrorist organization. And the word captured being in there feels real specific. So, something else to note, that all of the press inquiries are being put right to the White House. Press communications, they aren't going through like the Pentagon or Congress or anyone else. This feels like, and again, I'm going to speculate, feels like a unilateral action from the president. So, yep. Stay tuned for more, I guess. It's honestly just so heartbreaking for the people of Venezuela. They've been through so much under 13 years of a dictatorship already. Yeah, I don't know how this plays out, so stay tuned to your local news station and Truth Social, I guess.
I want to ask you guys this question, and let me know in the comments how you feel about this. With what ended up taking place today, this morning, inside Venezuela, with the United States military and the military attacking Venezuela and the military going boots on the ground and essentially kidnapping or taking hostage the Venezuelan president, how are other countries going to view force? Because we know that Russia has claimed they just want to take back the land that is owed to them, that is inside Ukraine. China has also indicated that Taiwan is theirs, that Taiwan does not belong to them, that Taiwan belongs officially to China. So how are these other countries now going to literally view what the United States ended up doing this morning? Because essentially we know that this just looks like a pure land grab or a snatch and grab when it comes down to like a political change for the United States inside Venezuela. We also know that Venezuela is the largest known crude oil on the planet. They have the most crude oil out of anyone on the planet. They also have other minerals. We also know that Donald Trump has claimed that Venezuela stole land and or oil from the United States itself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think is the next move? Not just for the United States, but for other countries. How are they going to view what the United States literally just did this morning? Let me know your thoughts.
Nigga, is this shit really happening? Are we about to go to war? This nigga Trump just captured Maduro. What the fuck? These niggas just conducted airstrikes on Venezuela and captured Maduro and his wife. What the fuck? Nigga, who approved this shit? I'm trying to chill. Like, I'm trying to chill, bro. What are we doing? This nigga Trump just be doing shit, bro. How the fuck are you going to airstrike a country and capture their president on suspicion of drug trafficking? Like, what? And they just deployed their military in resistance. Nigga, this a real conflict. Like, we're at war with Venezuela. Like, what the f? They said this is the worst aggression Venezuela has ever faced, and they will not be subdued. Like, what the fuck, nigga? Like, who the fuck be approving this shit? Who approves it?
Bro, do you know how terrified every other world leader will be right now seeing the US capture the president of Venezuela like that? Right, it was just yesterday that he was giving interviews on TV talking about, how he's willing to negotiate with the US to combat drug trafficking for one of the first times. He goes to sleep that night. Who knows where, but he is was the president, and so it's going to be somewhere hella secure. And then between 12 and 3 a.m., we hear that the US's Army's Delta Force, which is their top counterterrorism unit, has got boots on the ground in Venezuela. They've managed to snatch him and his wife from his own country, put him on a chopper, and fly him to an undisclosed location. No one knows where he is. We don't know if he's alive. We don't know what this means for Venezuela's future. Is this an act of war? Is this a major breach of international law? Does the US even care about that? It's like, just for other world leaders seeing this, to know that the US military has the ability to carry out something like that is going to send shockwaves to all of them watching. Fuck.
What the fuck is happening right now? This is too much happening at 3:30 in the goddamn morning. What are you talking about? This is not...
Okay, I want you to breathe with me, okay? We're going to talk about Venezuela and what's the latest thing that we know as of right now. 3:57 a.m. Central Time, January 3rd. U.S. has bombed Venezuela. Venezuela's President Maduro and his wife have been captured by the U.S. We do not know where they're at. We do not know much about what this has looked like other than the fact that they have been taken. Trump has confirmed it through Truth Social, and we don't entirely know who is leading the country as of right now. Now, I don't know his official title, but the person that leads their defense, like their Secretary of Defense, from my understanding, has released a statement saying that the U.S. has carried this out and that they're trying to see what the casualties are on the ground from the bombs and stuff like that. They said there was helicopters involved, things like that. But as far as like what the intent was, like of this, what the results of these bombs, we don't know that yet. So I'm coming on here to share this because this is a lot. This was shocking to a lot of people. A lot of us saw something of this nature happening. Obviously, you hope not, but to this degree of taking Maduro is quite shocking for a lot of us. A lot of people that have been paying attention in a lot of other countries, things like that. So there's a lot of questions that are going to be floating around right now. And because of that, and because of the fact that we're still trying to get information, there's going to be the possibility that people try to bridge gaps. I just want you to be very intentional about the information you consume right now and understand that like people are potentially going to try to activate you, sensationalize this. Please be rooted in the information with this, okay? Like look at trusted outlets, journalists that you know. Like go to ABC, it's pretty solid. Like and don't even just go to one source, go to multiple. Okay? Don't just go to one person, one outlet. Like see what's happening across the board. And then like root yourself in that, and then if you want to get an understanding of what some experts might have to say around this, then I think that is helpful. But I just want to put this out there because this is a lot. It's shocking to happen at the middle of the night, in the middle of the night. So if you are in the U.S., you are concerned about this, I highly encourage you to take this approach. But if you are someone that is watching this that has people in Venezuela, like one, I hope they are okay. Please check on them, make sure they're okay, and we're waiting to hear more information. So just be aware and intentional about how you consume information over the next like 24 hours.